a very top-heavy region, but it already looks as if, Max, we are underway with the first game between these two teams, and hopefully we can see another one of those fairy tale storylines emerge, Max.
Hopefully we can indeed, as Team Secret are kicking off in the blue against W7M ESPORTS in the orange. And just to give you my quick opinion, I'm going for the entire close qualifier grand finals. Give me W7M ESPORTS injected straight into my veins as Royales orients the first breakaway and is going to score the first goal.
It's a lovely way to get started, especially if you're a W7M supporter. Royales just, well, he was delivered a ball which was just poked through to him from thin air. Team Secret trying to come out the gates really swinging hard with that attack and punished immediately there.
Punished immediately indeed. That's, that's what you got to look out for against W7M. Don't overcommit. They will punish you. They will use every inch of space that you're going to give to them as Knight. Now, again, with KV1 playing a little bit of flipper there in his own box. Wisty is waiting patiently, but is eventually demoed out by Sad. KV1 now for Team Secret. They got to get something going rather quickly and don't allow W7M to get too much momentum. Now, counterattack, but Knight caught with 0 boost upfield.
Yeah, and there's not much too much further he can progress with this attack unless supported from behind, as he was, but yet another counter-attack emerging through from W7M ESPORTS. And what we can come to expect from this Team Secret roster is certainly a massive level of control, just in terms of the possession game on the field. They are so well connected. They are deadly with their individual efforts as well, and just mechanically speaking, they are capable of just taking a team and just really giving them no room to breathe. W7M almost made it 2.
Nearly 2, and nearly again just that slight little overcommit on Team Secret that's gonna nearly cost them dearly twice. Yes, W7M seems to be really getting into their flow a little bit quicker than their opponents. Dips now. It's KV1, that's a great dunk over 1, but Sad already there backing up his teammate. That's exactly where you want him to be as KV1 puts into the corner. He's demoed for his efforts though. Knight gets out of goal. Does not get distracted by that post for awfully too long. Is, however, still a very tentative affair in Game 1.
Definitely so, but I think it's certainly favouring this side in orange, and I didn't think I'd be saying those words so early on, but they have managed to establish some all-important control as KV1 does take this one to the backboard, and a shot does rip its way through, and the follow has been converted by Sad. W7M really struggling at the back to get this one away, and rightfully so, because the attack was pretty threatening there.
Pretty threatening, but I feel like at the same time, Royales unfortunately just didn't get the touch that he wanted. He wanted to clear it out long to the right side, but unfortunately his just lacked the power, lacked the vigor to get it downfield. With that, Team Secret will take that freebie and will equalize. But Wisty, something to say about the equal scoreline. Bumps away Knight as well, lays it up for Snips, but KV1 just darting in between, jumping close down that angle and is already on Royales' case. This time though, he does a lot better than before.
Definitely so, and he's worked his way through to the opposition half, but only briefly, as Knight is going to see this one away. Team Secret just huddled at the back at the moment, trying to absorb some of this pressure, maybe work those infield passes. Speaking of, a corner read followed up from that pass. Wasn't quite weaved. Essential for a teammate. The gap was given for W7M ESPORTS to maybe have a little bit of troubles, but no such luck that time.
No such luck here, but maybe with this attack, no. The infield pass a little bit too wide for Wisty to take under his control, and it's an interesting start from Team Secret. I expected them to come out of the gates a lot quicker, a lot hotter, but they're respecting W7M. They're like saying, okay, you won against Parabellum. I know we've already beaten you in groups. Let's not forget, in Group A, Team Secret swept W7M, where W7M only scored 1 goal in the 3 games. But it's looking like, okay, this is a different day, so you might play differently. We're willing to wait out this best of 7 to see what you bring to the table. And what they bring to the table is immediate danger in the box and a 2-1 lead, courtesy of Snips.
You mentioned how W7M had only took a single game in that series against Team Secret. But already they're looking for a little bit of revenge. especially after that second conversion. And Team Secret, in that prior result against W7M ESPORTS in groups, was absolutely dominating. They crushed them on pretty much every aspect in the field, and especially if you look at the statistical point of view of that series, it was just complete murder. And already coming through into this particular series, a complete change of pace perhaps.
It seems to be a change of pace. Maybe W7M has just, I wouldn't say maybe, they definitely studied what went wrong against Team Secret between yesterday and today in that group stage. But they've seemed to find the right answers. But now, Knight, 1v1 situation, just flicks it up very early to the side. Realis is struggling a little bit. Is W7M to get it out of their own half, but finally they do break out. Knight, they're trying to get it back into that orange half. KV1 to continue the play, but unfortunately for Team Secret, there's no going through that concrete wall just yet.
Absolutely not, and W7M are just going to continue their push forwards. Just climb onto every single foothold they can have to offer, courtesy of this Team Secret side, as this clock very much does tick down slowly for Team Secret. They need to get an opportunity on the board now, just to give them any chance of a conversion, but it's looking more unlikely as these seconds tick by. A demo in the midfield as Snip is up nice and quickly, and I think, Max, that is all she wrote for Game 1 if this ball does touch the ground, and W7M ESPORTS really coming out the gate swinging.
W7M doing what they couldn't do in groups, winning. It's of course not a team group, but W7M ESPORTS winning this game against Team Secret. You can already see the surprisingly little amount of offense from Secret. 8 to 5 shots in favor of W7M. This is a complete flip on the head from what we expected, Psycho, but is this a sustainable way to conduct this series?
That's always going to be the difficult question for me, Max, and I think after that Game 1 showing, W7M, again, they sort of showed that consistent defensive playstyle, that ability to absorb pressure. And we saw really early on, just about 30 seconds of play had passed, and there was already a counter-attack goal, straight and open lane to net for W7M ESPORTS, and it was just let slip a little bit from their opposition in Team Secret. Maybe a bit of disrespect when it came to just how many risks they were willing to put into the play, how aggressive they approached that first game. And I think if Team Secret can make a couple of adjustments, it might swing the opposite direction.
And those adjustments that just might just be to get the confidence. We talked about how important confidence is going to be for W7M, but I feel like Team Secret is not being their same selves that they were previously. They still look a bit cautious. It is a best of 7, of course, so we shouldn't read too much into this first game, but they do seem a little bit cautious as Game 2 is getting underway here on the beautiful map of Forbidden Temple.
Beautiful as it is, hopefully it's going to be equally beautiful in terms of a response from Team Secret. That's going to be what they're desperately looking forward to after they have shown their strengths. Other competitions outside of this Winter Open, just glancing back to that center stage of the World Championships in that sort of 4 major setting. They were just dominant performers. That 4th place finish, absolutely nothing to be scoffed at. They proved themselves to be world contenders, and now they're in a situation where if they do lose a series like this, what's that going to say about their legacy?
If they do lose that series, that's going to certainly hurt their legacy, but W7M, they're definitely trying to destroy that legacy before it even really starts. Snips bumps away Knight. Get out of my way, says Snips, and Wisty just with a leisurely little tap in. 1-0 in favor of W7M again, and Team Secret, they seem a bit stumped.
I think stumped is an understatement at the moment, especially after the manner in which they conceded that first goal, because there's very little you can do to defend a play like that. Just one player completely bombarding themselves forward for a bump, and again that interlinking play downfield. Royalis puts it down to Wisty, but the finish was missing in action, unfortunately, that time around. The play was so beautifully worked, and if they can just keep up that sort of standard of play, they could be in with a real shot of taking this one.
A real shot indeed, especially if Team Secret doesn't respect them enough to really try 100%. It feels like Team Secret is still holding back. Sand, that's a big whiff, KV1 there to help him out, transition it down the pitch, but they don't get past midfield. That is tightly packed by the W7M players. Long clears not the way forward for Team Secret, but maybe this one here. There's an unwanted connection on the W7M side. Never mind, Wisty is there to snap it out together with Royales.
Quickly so, but Team Secret are still back on the push forwards. The Snip does get a crucial little block there. He's got plenty of boost in the tank to work this forward. It's a 1v1 Wisty versus Sad, but Sad has overstepped his mark by maybe just a couple of inches, and unfortunately, on that time of asking, he just couldn't make that touch required.
Not only could he not make that touch, but he also had to evade the W7M player there. Wisty, I believe it was, ready to just completely get in the way and bump him away, so there's no real chance for him to make that defensive stand. W7M double up the lead, 2-0 here, and I believe the entire region of South America is currently sitting with their mouth wide open. What is happening? Maybe a third here? No, not quite the third goal for W7M.
And that unlikely reality is looking ever closer. This could be 3 as it's just about saved away on that near post by Team Secret. On the counter is KV1, but just trying to frolic into that free space. He was met immediately by that defender from W7M, and just so much quality is on this side in terms of their shape. You can see how well they're just rotating around one another to keep that pressure coming. Just give Team Secret a really difficult time to get any sort of possession on the turf. It's a real difficulty at the moment, as this one looks a little bit awkward for the first time in maybe a couple of minutes.
Yeah, the defense tested for a little bit now, but even though it doesn't look entirely 100% clean, it still works. And that is the most important thing. This midfield turn, though, very well done by Knight. Gets it past one, not past the second, and Royales standing his ground thus far in for W7M, who look poised to take this second game as well to make it 2-0, but they have to contend with the last 100 seconds of game 2, and no doubt a last-ditch effort from Team Secret. Here it comes, Knight with the shot, Knight with the goal.
Simple as that for Knight, and it's certainly not going to be an opportunity that he misses from that sort of range. It was a lovely pass down from KV1, and Royales and Wisty, they tried to work in coordination, in collaboration with each other, and just couldn't make the touch required, as there is going to be a brief little game pause, and hopefully for Team Secret that's going to give them a little bit of time to reflect on the past eventualities and push themselves forward that little extra step.
Yeah, and that break definitely also going to be very important for Secret to say, okay, this is how we're going to approach these last 90 seconds, right? Because now you can just plan for a very limited time frame is something that Rocket League doesn't usually give you. The goal will stand, as we already hear from the ref, so it has nothing to do with that, and we are restarting. Last 90 seconds, never mind, we're not restarting. Someone has a little bit of a connection issue, but if you're Team Secret, how do you plan out these last 90 seconds? Is it just go, 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 see ball, hit ball? Do you try to ruthlessly outpace W7M, or do you try to really tie the knot and pressurize them into making a mistake?
I think all of the above would be lovely if you're a Team Secret supporter, to be frank. But I think in terms of their strengths as a team, the things that I can see that makes this roster sort of special in my mind is just their really aggressive nature. So how they're working in combination with those sort of aerial players in the midfield, and also their disruptive players downfield when it comes to demos and stuff like that. But we haven't seen too much of that. In fact, it's been completely the contrary. We've seen W7M try and adapt that aggressive nature with those demos going forwards, and that's actually what gave them a couple opportunities themselves. Team Secret still lacking in that department for me, maybe Matt.
Yeah, but remembering how I saw them at the full major, because that's really the biggest reference that I have, Secret never really went for that physical play, so it doesn't seem to suit them. Yes, it's something that they 100% should have in their locker, but I don't think they will use it unless it's a last-ditch effort. Unless they're 3-0 down in the series, maybe a minute to go. I think then they maybe get it out just to switch it up a little bit. But before that, I don't really see them going for that aggressiveness. It's not really their style to play that way. That being said, it is of course a very effective way if your opponent is this strong in defense, like W7M have been, just to disrupt their entire defensive rotation and bring some hectic and some unknowingness into the communications.
Yeah, and I think it's a massive question. How do you break down a team that is as structurally sound as W7M Esports, especially when you're sort of losing out on these individual battles, these sort of 50-50 challenges. They seem to all be going in the direction of W7M Esports. They seem to look the faster team just because of their shape. It seems that every single spillage in the midfield is just falling straight back to this W7M squad. So I think that little bit of disruption maybe could play a part in just trying to take away how difficult it is to craft those opportunities. But like you said, that does come with an inherent risk. It might not be the speciality of the Team Secret roster themselves. They're certainly capable of throwing it into their bag of tricks, and there's many of those. So for Team Secret, it's just finding out a couple missing pieces to the puzzle, maybe.
I feel like Team Secret might still be in that mindset of, okay, we swept them in groups, right? 3-0, we won in groups against them. They only scored 1 goal, and they not necessarily disrespect them, but they expect that it should be an easy victory. And perhaps it is also that knowing that both Crew and NIP are out of the regional, and they could make up some massive points on NIP. I think that's sort of, if these thoughts enter your mind, you know as well as a player, that just distracts you, and that just takes away focus from what's really important and what's really in front of you.
Absolutely so, and I do believe that we are just about underway to get back started in this game. Beautifully timed as that was. We are back live, resuming after that pause. Exactly the same situation we once were. As we said earlier, that goal will stand. It was just a brief connection drop from the player in Royales. That is not going to be casted on the minds of W7M Esports, surely, because they do have this advantage at the moment. They have the confidence. You can just see it in their play as they continue their charge forward. Certainly looking good for them.
And W7M really don't have anything to lose. They can play freely. They are the underdog. They just have everything to gain, nothing to lose. If they go grand finals, and everyone will applaud them and be like, yo, how on earth did you manage that? But for that, still a lot of Rocket League to be played. 50 seconds left in this second game. The lead still 1 goal. Royales has to make sure it stays that way, and he does.
Massive block there at the back lines for W7M. But this onslaught is not over just yet, as KV1 does try to just weave one in field, but not too much creativity with that particular link-up, and it was easily read by this orange defense, as that is 2 players committed, but still possession in favour of W7M as they drive forwards. A little bit of disruption from the end of Secret, a flip reset to match, and that could have easily rattled one home, as Knight is going to be able to follow this one forwards. And Team Secret, that little bit of aggression came a long way for them there.
That little bit of aggression, that little bit of uncertainty injected into Royales' mind as he takes that one away from Snips, who had an easy clear to the side, makes it dangerous, puts it in the box for Knight to finish it off, and 15 seconds to spare. Team Secret equalize this second game. See if we might have one more in regulation. Royales against the corner. KV1 has that red every single day of the week. Sad. Continue the play forward. It's 1 second, 0 seconds. The ball high up in the air. Snips over 1. KV1 darting up to the backboard, making it there and getting the ball grounded. We have overtime.
I think this series is about to get a little bit more interesting. If Team Secret do take this game, it's back to the drawing boards for W7M Esports. As quickly as they had their sort of rise to fame early on in this series, come tumbling down quite quickly after that equalising goal. Now into overtime. It's going to be a question of who can really just outlast their opposition, who can keep their mistakes to a minimum, who can keep their cool in a situation like this.
Yeah, now it's really the time where you have to show cojones, where you have to show what you're really made of, if you have what it takes. High pressure overtime. It's not the highest of pressure, but still noticeable up gear from regulation play. It's right now W7M seems to be pressing the issue. Sad. Flip reset acquired. Flip reset used to get over 1, but Wisty patiently waiting on his corner boost. KV1 though gets it past the second one. Only Snips back. Snips does well in the first instance for W7M, but Knight has boost. Knight has a lot of boost and makes it count. 3-2. Team Secret equalize the series.
And this player has more than a bucket full of boost. He's got a bucket full of talent to match. It's a gorgeous strike from Knight. So delicately controlled as it was, and Team Secret, you could see that hunger, you could see that desperation that you mentioned perhaps, Max, that maybe would have incentivized that switch in playstyle, and importantly, they got that switch done early, thwarting the momentum from W7M.
Yeah, just look at the bottom there. 5-2 demos in favor of Team Secret, really going for it every single time. And, you know, it works out in the end. You have to use your demos effectively, and Team Secret definitely have done that, coming back from a 0-2 deficit to make it 3-2 in overtime. And now W7M, you were so close on taking the series to a 2-0. Now do the doubts start creeping into your mind, or do you think they're still in the clear about that?
I think they're absolutely going to be in the clear still, even though it's just a single game knocked off the boards. Like I've said, I think there's so much experience on both of these rosters at large that I think it warrants confidence just sort of being removed from the equation at these sort of early stages in the series. But importantly, it's going to be a massive momentum shift for Team Secret. They were very much struggling to get even a single opportunity on the board, and were making tiny little slip-ups here and there in terms of the goals they were conceding as well. But fortunately, they were able to make that sort of shift in pace, and I think that's really what gave them that advantage towards the end of last game.
Yeah, and that advantage is definitely something that they want to ride, that wave that they're trying to accumulate for themselves. That's one that they want to serve down as we head into game number 3. It's all squared in the series, so we go from the best of 7 to the effective best of 5. And Knight wants to make the 1-0 happen immediately after the kickoff. Is the Knight by W7M, however.
A lovely bit of play to control the ball in the corner from KV1. It's going to spill infield towards Knight. He's got an air dribble on the cards as well as this ball drops down. A little bit of a whiff from Wisty there, who crucially for his side has been the goal scorer traditionally for W7M, almost doubling the goals per game compared to his teammates so far in this Winter Open across all the games they've played, and that's still underneath a single goal per game, and it's really telling of this sort of confident defensive nature of W7M. But we've seen maybe that change a little bit so far in this series, and hopefully for them that continues.
Hopefully it does indeed. This Team Secret is now gearing up. Take one more. Trying to really get deep into the half of W7M, keep possession in that half as well. KV1 to the corner, takes control, gets it past the first one. Will not be able to get it past. I say that he gets it back to Sad. Brilliant bit of mechanics from KV1, but unfortunately it will not count as W7M get it downfield and clear their lines.
KV1 only goes far as that first man from W7M. This ball does come across from Wisty at the back lines. Just trying to find this ball into some fresh air. He's done well, but Sad is already up to hit this one corner bound. Lovely little clearance towards Royales. That touch is going to go high as well. An important block from Team Secret to keep it in their possession, really.
Important block. Keep it in possession, but right now, possession is going to be with W7M. Sad Dropping it down to Knight. Getting it away from Wisty at the same time. I didn't see Wisty up. I thought he would be patient to wait for Sad's touch, but he was not, as Sad is now continuing the play forward for Team Secret. Wisty waiting patiently this time around to bang it up high. But those sort of tennis bangs, they don't really accomplish anything. Yes, you get a little bit of breathing room, but Team Secret is just going to take control of the ball. It's just going to bring it back straight into your half. Royales up early to deny KV1.
Wisty with a double touch to push this ball forwards. Lovely to see, but nothing was made of that chance. Royales round his own back lines, just trying to whip this ball around. He's done so with so much fresh air. You can see Team Secret really respecting this W7M roster now. They fell back with their positioning, it seems. They're not trying to throw absolutely everything, including the kitchen sink, to craft an opportunity and really playing the long game. And I think that's showing of sort of this neutral state of play we find ourselves in now.
Yeah, the dynamic of the series has definitely evolved into one where both teams massively respect one another and both teams are cautious because of it. There's no one wants to make that crucial mistake. Both are more than just able to punish if you do, and that just leads to this very cautious, very conservative approach to this third match from these two, as Team Secret now press back into defense for a little bit longer, even though no real series attempts come in from W7M.
Snip on the wall. Absolutely no boost in the tank, but that one's just about spilled infield. An important block from KV1. Potentially a follow-up to match. What a block that is from Wisty, though, as Knight does follow that ball up. Immediately blocked away at the backboard, though, as it was. W7M so comfortable in these sorts of situations. We've seen it time and time again, and it's not stopping now.
Not stopping now, but Team Secret attack might be stopped. Once more double commit though of W7M to do exactly that. Wisty takes control, puts it up high, gets it over KV1 crucially, can follow it up, double commit now out of Team Secret. Everyone just double committing on these long balls because no one is really sure what to do. Communication maybe a little bit on the down low right now, but Knight, nearly with some magic for the field.
And what a beautiful way that would have been to convert the goal and push their advantage. Royale as an extra touch high. Found this one to Snip. He's going to take his time. Just a loose touch forwards to follow from. Little couple of seconds time. Supported by Wisty in the corner. That's 2 orange players committed. The counter-attack charge being re-enlightened by KV1, but no conversion. Just in the skin of, well, really close to disaster for W7M. They did just about see that one wide.
Just about made it happen. Nearly the overcommit there with not a lot of time to, they would have had to come back from it. Sad. Again, long clear down the field, looking for Knight, finding Knight, banger! But it's unfortunately for Team Secret just against the backboard. Sad, up high. Westy is in between. KV1, will he let it drop or will he see it high? Snips wants to keep it alive. Realize denies the first touch, is brilliant, but the flick is not as good. Or just the defense being good enough on Team Secret, and we head into overtime for a second time in a row.
Beautiful signs here early on in the series. 2 overtimes in a row. It's a gorgeous thing to see, in a 0-0 scoreline to match as well as KV1 strikes. It's going to be followed up by Knight. A Snip with a wonderful little pre-jump there just to see that ball away. W7M still continuing their defensive superiority. Down the other end is Wisty, but a comfortable clearance for Sad.
Comfortable the clearance, but not getting it out of his own half is Sad. Realis and Wisty both trying to track down KV1. Realis seceding from the position to just get some boost, getting his teammates involved in the play. Knight looking for that upper 90 is not going to be successful. Gets it in the mid, but there's only one player from W7M, and that is Realis to clear it out of the orange half, get it down the pitch to that blue half of Team Secret.
So far in this game, not a single mistake made, really, that has been crucial to the play, bar maybe that one potential counter-attacking chance for Team Secret, but this one has been left open for an attack. As Knight slows the play down, drops it down towards Sad. Royales and Wisty both there immediately. That pressure from the first man being provided from W7M, still looking strong as save after save after save is being made, and continue forth they go.
But not only are a lot of saves being made at the moment, also a lot of demos coming out of Team Secret, always trying to disrupt that third man coming in at the back post for W7M, always trying to just get rid of him, make it a little bit easier for the player in the air. It is a good idea, unfortunately, for them not quite bearing any fruit just yet. Wisty up high in the air, Snipstone blocks the Team Secret attacker for him. Royales, does he have the read? No, he lets it go through for Wisty's shot. Knight there to close down the angle and close down the shot as well.
But Snip is not just done quite yet. As Royales following this one up, he's going to slow play it high, potentially beat one player. And Sad really just taking the escape route. He's seen the opportunity to go alone. That's a booming ball downfield. It might be difficult as well for Royales. He's beaten in the skies by KV1. Who else but the forefront of the attack? That's a beautiful little chip up high, but W7M, they're really going to be kicking themselves for conceding in that sort of manner after a game like that.
It's a second overtime that W7M lose consecutively against Team Secret. That waterfall down, not at all easy to read for the defense. Royales caught with low boost as well, but against Team Secret, you have to make sure that you get some part of your car in between that ball and your net. Fortunately, though, KV1 just a little bit quicker for W7M, and with that, we head into game number 4, and we have the scoreline that I think most people expected is Team Secret leading the way.
Yeah, but importantly, from a neutral perspective, it's quite an even affair. That was a really tough game for Team Secret to push in their direction, and that was all off of one counter-attack and one potential misread from W7M. That's all that really shapes that last game, but that being said as well, I'm going to counter myself slightly. I do think Team Secret looked the stronger side. They just had that sort of aggressive nature and as a result, they gave themselves more of those opportunities, and W7M, they can't absorb it for too long. Surely, they're going to let something slip at some point, and I feel that's what happened.
Yeah, if you got all the pressure, but you don't get the counterattacks to alleviate that, the kettle is eventually just going to boil over, right? And that is exactly, I feel like, what happened in that overtime. Team Secret was pressing forward, trying to make it happen, and in the end, sometimes it just needs that quote-unquote simple waterfall to make it happen for Team Secret as they go into Utopia Coliseum, being in the lead. It's on W7M to respond. Brilliant flick from Wisty after the kickoff. That was nearly one way to respond.
Absolutely, and I'm sure our socials team behind in the background would have been very happy if that one went in. Certainly would have been one of the highlight goals of the day so far, as that ball was found infield towards Royales, and KV1 sees this one to the side. Thad just trying to bait out a single player, just get a single small win on the board as Royales takes to the sky, and Team Secret couldn't afford themselves even that.
And I feel like Team Secret are now fully online. It's almost like they used that first game just to download all the information that they needed on W7M. How are they going to play today? And then they adjusted accordingly. They have been a lot more aggressive than we usually see from them. They have been demoing a lot more than we usually see from them. And it's paying big dividends in 2 consecutive game wins. Another demo from Knight on Wisty on the goal line. Royales on the backboard has to make a good stop. Sad up high, gets a second touch, but Wisty already respawned and waiting on the backboard.
Great awareness from Wisty to see that one to the side. As W7M, they try to forge a counter-attack here, but the flip reset is already caught from Knight, and the danger already present as Wisty, slow playing yet again, just trying to push individually out the back, and that one's almost just dropped down into the back of the net, but not quite that time.
Not quite yet for W7M, but they're getting ever closer to that goal. It is, however, still hermetically sealed, and they have to be careful not to neglect their own defense. That balance needs to be on point against a strengthening Team Secret. KV1 to the side. It's denied at the far post. Sad already there to pick up the pieces. It is, however, brought out by Snips, and now the counter-deck is running. 2v1 situation. Is there the fake? The fake. He tries to bully himself through, but Snips is denied by KV1.
W7M are having to run quite quickly back home to really seal off all of those potential avenues of attack from Team Secret, but they're still finding them, and that's a beautiful shot from Sad as Knight wraps this one high. There is an infield option as well. He's dropped it down, a second touch to his name, and what a crucial save that was.
Very crucial save, but will it be enough for W7M? Now long clear out of Royales, but Knight already up in the air to meet it head on. Wisty taking the loose ball, Sad into the corner now. W7M trying to gear up for some sort of pressure. Everyone's got enough boost in the tank. Royales one dunk, but that is going to be very difficult for Snips to make something out of. We'll still try though. Sad coming down from the skies to get it away and completely deep into the opponent's half.
Wisty has beaten out KV1 on that occasion. An infield pass could spell an opportunity the direction of this orange side. Like you said earlier, Max, I think Team Secret are certainly strengthening at the moment. W7M just simply don't have that presence on the field as they once had, and it's becoming ever more difficult to work these opportunities. That shot's gone high as well, and supporting Royales can't really follow forward to put an all-important shot on target.
Those shots are eluding Team W7M at the moment. Team Secret doing a lot of things right in defense, mostly not letting W7M deep into their own half, into any promising shooting opportunities, but as also very, very skillful because they need to be up quick. They need to really use that speed advantage that they certainly have in that midfield to gain the presence and to have the presence in the midfield to use it for their own attacks as well. One demo coming out, Knight though by Snip.
Followed up, AV1 in the corner. Wisty is already there to meet it. At the moment, W7M still struggling on the back lines to escape their own half. And you said earlier, is that sort of performance that W7M gave us earlier repeatable? For the time being, it seems not that way because the series has definitely spun in the direction of this blue side, and as these seconds tick on by, they need to do something to really craft something. They can't rely on that kickoff or thereon after to do something as Royales with the flip reset tries to work downfield, a disruption as well. Knight on the counter, a reset surely going to be found. The finish is there as well, but the crossbar denies. KV1 though, wrapping back around to follow through, and he has certainly got the job done.
Second pickings for KV1 to put it in the back of the net. The crossbar denies for the first go around, but KV1 will not be denied, and it sort of morphed itself, this series, into the one we were expecting, where W7M is sitting back a lot of the time, is struggling to break out, but crucially, Team Secret is not falling in the trap that is overcommitting and letting their backline be open for the counter-attack. They are very aware of how they need to stagger themselves, how they need to position themselves on the pitch to deny W7M any sort of offensive presence. Maybe here the Wisty with an opportunity, sad to cut it out. Slips though, second shot coming, but not enough boost to bring enough power behind that ball. So Reales has to contend with that one not going into his own net. 0 seconds left, 1 goal the difference, technically possible. Not anymore.
Not anymore. And Team Secret are showing themselves to be a completely different beast to what we saw in those first few games. Almost the team of old that we saw just glancing back towards the end of that winter split. Such an incredible team they were to watch in Rotterdam, and I think there were some questions asked about whether they could maintain that sort of level of performance, because glancing back even before that, Team Secret were in a very fierce battle for even the top 3 of South America, let alone world contention, and yet they painted themselves in that light. And to be taking this series as comfortably as they are, if they do go to take this next game, I think it's going to put a lot of people's thoughts at bay in terms of the legacy they preserve.
Yeah, that's definitely true. The legacy, if they go to the grand finals and if they come back from Europe, go back to South America and immediately be the top dog, it's definitely something that it wasn't too expected. You know, NIP is still around, but they had a bad regional, so that stuff sort of happens. But first, Team Secret has to get the job done. There's always one thing, getting to match point. That's the other thing of actually converting your match point. Of course, Secret has 3 of them, so they're gonna have plenty of chances to do that. They're gonna have to do it first. And now for W7M, it's now or never, but at the same time, it's really nothing has changed. You are here because you upset a lot of teams. You are here. No one expected you to be here. You can just, you should, going into this next game, you should be like, okay, I don't really care what's going on. I just want to have fun. Because if you don't care, if you don't take it too seriously, I feel like they're just going to excel and they're just going to play better.
Yeah, especially if they're feeling sort of demoralized after those last couple games, just cheering up the mood, just elevating themselves as a team and really just reflecting on how far they've came. Maybe that's a fantastic way to sort of kickstart their mental games. I'm sure they're going to be tip-top as things are at the moment, but it's always nice to have that little boost in terms of those positive thoughts just flooding you when you're taken to the field. And as you say, Team Secret, they need to try and push themselves through this match point. That's often the most difficult and the most crucial part of the series, as you can probably imagine. But for W7M, something needs to change. They're struggling at the moment, and unless Team Secret make a few more clumsy slip-ups like we saw in the first few games, it's looking more unlikely by the second max.
It is looking more unlikely, and W7M have taken their time out to reflect on this game. They have taken the time off, but it will be to no avail as Knight immediately puts one in after the kickoff.
That's so rude. Was there any need? I'm not sure there was. It's early on. It's 4 seconds into the game.
Team Secret would disagree. There was definitely a need for that.
There's certainly a need from their point of view. But W7M, I was just talking about how they need to flood their minds with positive thoughts. I think that's really going to come back to haunt them, that goal there.
It's almost like Knight heard you say that, and Knight was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to allow that. I'm just going to immediately fake one of them out and live rent-free in his head. As he is so beautifully displayed right there, but Reales has a free back, but Reales double tap, what a save! What a second save! Excuse me, Secret, what are you on?
I'm not entirely sure, but it's certainly doing them a world of good at the moment, as somehow it's still a 1-goal advantage pushed towards Team Secret, as Knight takes to the wall, a quick block and maybe a follow-up touch from Snip, but it wasn't found. W7M, they're completely back to the drawing boards now. What do they have left to offer?
That is the big question. It seemed like they threw everything at that one attack. It seemed like that was destined to be the equalizer. Team Secret defense, it holds firm, it holds strong, it stands, and with it, the clean sheet also stands in this 5th game here on Wasteland. W7M definitely not giving up hope, still pressing forward. Royales up high, has a lot of boost in the tank, but is met in the air confidently by Knight.
There's a massive 50 across the entire length of the court there, and Team Secret have actually managed to get themselves an attack from it, as well as KV1 well controlled through the air. He's just trying to bait in those defenders, and he's got a flip reset at the very dying second of that approach. It was so unexpected, even from me in the commentary booth. You can only feel sympathies for the defense as well.
That happy for KV1, we are on Wasteland, because that is an absolutely outlawed flip reset. He fakes going to the backboard, wraps around the ball to flip reset it into the long corner. What? How do you even think of that one, KV1? Rude, illegal, and Team Secret are on top of the world right now, it seems. Everything going their way. Snips looking for Royales, not found. Again, Knight darting in between.
KV1 on the counter, straight to the backboard, maybe a shot follow through as well, but it was just saved away at the dying seconds there, as on the counter attack actually, Royales towards net!
Oh no.
Oh, Max, I'm gonna need you to hold me.
Oh dearie me.
Oh.
I mean, sometimes it's just not your day, right? And if there's any play that's emblematic of it not being your series, I think this one would be it, but Wisty. Make sure that no negative minds and thoughts creep up into the minds of W7M. There's still a lot of Rocket League to be played. There's still a lot of time to come back, but you gotta feel for W7M. So many good chances just wasted.
You know what I like about this final potential game in the series, Max?
Go on.
It's the chaos so far, and I'm very much hoping that in these dying couple of minutes, there's still more of a tale to come between these two sides. W7M, they were able to get that goal, and it was really forged from nothing just seconds ago. As this clock does tick down, they're looking to create something more, something that isn't so reliant on the same methods they used to put the ball in earlier. A Snip is up, that's a miss from the back lines, and that one's in! Snip has found the angle. There was no angle, but somehow he's found it.
Get the protractor out, because Snips is teaching you geometry. Negative angle, basically single-digit angle from Snips to make it in 2-all. What a play, what a comeback here from W7M. After, I'm not gonna lie, I thought after they missed that huge chance from Royales to double tap and the follow-up, I thought they were gonna be beaten. I thought they were gonna be over and out, broken by the game, broken by the fact that they couldn't even convert an open net. But no, 40 seconds later, they score 2. They are truly alive in this series, and now it's anyone's game.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to bite my tongue before I think that everything's back to all square again, because Team Secret still are so much in the driver's seat. The 2-2 scoreline is certainly in their favour at the moment, as they are on match point, and W7M are almost forced in the equation to get a game back. That one's dropped down, and that's off the crossbar. Wisty and Royales together have worked that ball forwards. Miracles do happen, it seems, as this ball is just poked on forwards, and W7M survive once again.
Maybe the indifferent universe providing some little bit of balance there with that defensive stand, as the universe allows W7M to still be in this. As the infield pass coming from Royales, it is blocked away by Sad. Everyone now for Team Secret, and together with Knight trying to drive that ball down that left flank of W7M, and they will be successful. KV1 flip reset acquired, will not be able to beat the defender.
Royales with a beautiful little 50 over to the side, but Team Secret with a big clearance down, and Snip's going to try and replicate that. Little solo play out of his own back lines. That is 2 blue players committed, but Sad has just about managed to win that battle, and fortunately so for his side.
Fortunately, he does, as the clock ticks down ever closer towards that 3rd overtime that is looming in the distance. KV1 tries to go low underneath Royales. He read it though. He was able to beat that ball. KV1 again looking for one of his teammates. Sad will not be able to latch onto it. It's a last-ditch stand for Team Secret to avoid the 3rd overtime of this series. Knight up high. Royales already up then there. Sad. KV1 in the midfield. Gets a lot of space to work with. It's a beautiful passing play. It's a great idea, but unfortunately the execution not quite on par as we go into overtime again, Psycho.
And unfortunately, Team Secret just didn't want to bite the bullet that time with a follow-up, and immediately another bullet has come back the other direction. Straight off of kickoff, that 50-50, so heavily favouring this side in orange. And I think I don't have to bite my tongue anymore, Max. I think it's fair to say we do have a series on our hands.
We do indeed. W7M Esports break the overtime curse. In the third overtime, they finally win against Team Secret. But it's once more, whenever W7M has some presence on the pitch, whenever W7M has the confidence to just push themselves forward, not cower back in defense, is when they play at their strongest. And this is really how they won the 2 games that they have won. This is what we want to see from them.
It absolutely is, and that was such a spirited performance almost from W7M. It seemed that Team Secret still had their number that entire game long, but just looking back at the highlight reel, you can see some of those magical plays that did work their way into light snip with that ridiculous angle, and we saw another beautiful goal from KV1 on the other side. I think both of these teams are operating near a strong performance in terms of their own sort of headspace, the performance that they know they're capable of. They're almost reaching that threshold where they can be very proud of their own performances.
And now with that 1 overtime going up, being immediately 1 after kickoff and going the way of W7M, they're going to feel like rejuvenated. Yes, it's still a very tall mountain to climb, but they got to base camp. They've already made it up the way from the bottom of the mountain to base camp. Now it's just to scale the peak that is Team Secret here on Neo Tokyo for the 6th game of the series. Once again, it is W7M and Team Secret sharing the pitch, and once again, it's a spirited start from the underdogs in orange.
As they continue to scale this mountain, I imagine it's going to get ever more tiring for them as well, but as you said, that last game is sure to have rejuvenated their spirits. KV1, that's a demo downfield. It's so important as well. That play simply would not have happened unless that forward-thinking play occurred from KV1.
Second pass to third, but third was nowhere to be found. He was off at the scrapyard, getting himself a new octane to play with because KV1 deleted Royales off the pitch and then walked the ball in for good measure, just to sprinkle a little bit of salt in the wound of that demo. Team Secret take the lead of game number 6, and now again W7M have it all to do. They came back once. Can they do it yet again?
Well, I think that yet remains to be seen, but W7M, if there's anything that they have going for them, it is that drive, that hunger to win, as demonstrated in that last game. They somehow managed to get themselves back into the mix, but that early goal is certainly going to favour Team Secret massively as far as this game is concerned. All they need to do is hold on. They've not been able to do it once before, and maybe twice is a bit more unlikely.
This might be a little bit more unlikely, but if W7M keep up their performance, they can definitely create something special. That's a great bump attempt from Royales on KV1, but somehow KV1 still gets on the end of that ball, still gets it clear. See, now gets it underneath the first one, does not get the demo on Wisty though. Wisty taking it low, gets the flip reset. The follow-up is there by Snips. Wisty still there to get a pass back past mid. Unfortunately for W7M, the Team Secret defense holds firm.
Holds firm, but Sad's attack is going to be deadly, surely, if the shot can be allowed to rip its way through. But it was just about blocked away. Snip now taking to the skies, maybe lurking for a 50. Maybe no boost in the tank for him as well on that occasion. W7M, they're forward thinking at the moment in their plays out the back. One of these could convert any day now. It's just a matter of time, perhaps.
And you said earlier, Psycho, that you enjoyed Game 5 for the chaos that it brought to the table. You said that that's really what you're looking forward to from W7M, and I feel like this game in comparison has been a little bit too clean, has been a little bit too orderly. You have to somehow try to ramp up that chaos into that controlled chaos territory. Right now, seems very controlled here by Team Secret. They seem to be very comfortable with whatever W7M throw at them. Halftime has gone. Still the 1-0 lead prevails in favor of Team Secret. Sad coming down from the backward. Duel will not get a bump.
But this could be dangerous from Snip, but just sadly didn't get the lift on the air dribble that he quite wanted there, as that pinch does work its way forward. And Snip with a comfortable clearance, as Team Secret are going to look to push their way back into the play. But Snip has not only beaten one, he's beaten two. A demo as well. It's going to open itself up. But KB1, with a beautiful little double touch off his own corner there, has just given his team so much more hope.
Has given his team a lot more hope, and he has given his team a lot more breathing room. But that breathing room already being strangled away from Team Secret, as W7M is gearing up for yet another push forward. Snip going up high, trying to get on Knight, will not be successful. Royale's there with a follow-up. Gets it once, gets it twice, but Sad already patiently waiting on the backboard. Gets it clear. Only as far as the midfield. W7M does not want Team Secret to escape out of their own half.
And I think at the moment Team Secret are just really hoping and praying that W7M are just going to run out of steam at the moment, because they just keep on piling forwards. Attack after attack at the moment as these minutes tick down. Wisty with a fake and a flip reset, but no. Unfortunate flip reset found, a Knight on the counter. This could be all she wrote if this is poked in, but Royales just about gets his way back home, and W7M, that might be one of the final opportunities they're afforded in this series, Max.
That might be one of the final ones indeed. They only have 50 seconds to do something more. Late goals, not a strong suit of W7M. Most of their goals scored in the mid part of a game. Late goals more on the favor of Team Secret, as they're already burying downfield. KV1 and Knight trying to leave the ball in that corner, try to waste as much time as possible and really use the clock as your fourth ally. Wisty misses that one, or rather leads it to Snips. Oh no! Oh no! Disaster strikes, and it feels backflip, man.
Oh, that stings. That hurts. It's no secret, but Secret have taken the lead, 2-0. 25 seconds left on the clock. W7M, it's looking incredibly unlikely at this point, and that is such a horrible way, if you're in their position, to concede in the dying moments of the series when the momentum has seemingly been tipped in your direction. But Team Secret, the titans that they are, they have not let loose that grip that they had on this series. I think it's fair to say, as Wisty unfortunately touches this one down into his own net, there is nothing more they can do.
This series is done and dusted. What a... If he scores that on offense, I'll be going mad. But of course, the most beautiful goals are always scored as own goals. Team Secret will win 4-2 against W7M, but they gave them a run for their money. So from my view, it's just applause for W7M Esports coming out of the close qualifiers and really bringing it to the Titans. But of course, in the end, Team Secret moves on to the grand finals against Exceed.
And what a position that's going to be for Exceed. And I think for all the viewers who managed to catch that Exceed game, they're going to be rooting for the underdogs, at least predominantly on that occasion, as Exceed's run has been nothing to be scoffed at. They have come all the way from the closed qualifiers to just push themselves in the direction of a grand finals against a team that is now fighting for almost world contention in Team Secret, if you reflect back to that winter major. Now moving forward, there's certainly some new talents on the block. We saw that in the likes of this series as well. W7M and Exceed, teams like that which are shedding a new light on this very depthful region, I think it has to be said, Max.
Yeah, very depthful indeed. I mean, just the fact that we have two teams from the close qualifier making it to semifinals, one of them even making it to grands to face Team Secret. That's different. That's EU level of chaos and depth, and I'm here for it. But in the end, what do you think for W7M, just to close out that series, was the biggest downfall perhaps that they had? Was it just the lack of consistency maybe, or was it that Team Secret was just one number too big?
I think it's so hard to say because the individual talents and caliber and potential of just the players alone on that team's secret roster is what makes that team so special, I feel. It's not as if we were seeing left, right and centre infield passes darting back and forth between Team Secret. It was just the presence that each one of those players had on the field and how much control they had, especially during those sort of neutral battles to push the attacks in their favour. But nonetheless, W7M, it was a fantastic performance from them, and it's almost a shame we couldn't see more of them, Max.
Yeah, it really is a shame that we only got to see that one best of 7, but they really gave Team Secret a run for their money. It was 3 overtimes in the end. In that series, everyone pretty much expected a 4-0 sweep by Team Secret and a total stumping of W7M, I think it's fair to say, but they really showed what they're capable of, and I'm looking forward to maybe seeing them here in the semifinals again for the next regional. But for this Winter Open, it is only one series left to be played. The grand final, Team Secret against Exceed, that will be happening after this pause and brought to you by Danny Boy and Relic.